Good morning and welcome to Risky Business 2022. I'm very proud to say this is the third virtual event that we've put together. We started this conference during the pandemic, actually. We were looking at the various different conference options available to us, and obviously keen to continue communicating with our clients through the pandemic. And what we concluded was actually, whilst there was value in participating in a number of the other events that were out there and available to us, we also concluded that actually we had enough to say ourselves and enough content to offer our customers to put together a conference ourselves. And I'm happy to say this, as I say, this is the third time we've run this now, and we're learning each year. Very keen to hear any feedback from people if you're kind enough to give us that feedback on how the event goes and how the content comes across to you. But yeah, so we've got a packed lineup of speakers for you over the next couple of days, both turnkey speakers and also a number of customer and partner speakers are going to be on the agenda for us. So first and foremost, a huge thank you to our guest speakers. So we've got a lineup of fantastic speakers for you here. A number of customers that we've been working with for years, some that have moved on in their careers and are still kind enough to come back and speak for us at the event today and tomorrow. I think we're very lucky to have so many amazing speakers to join us over the next couple of days. So thank you to all of you for your efforts. Also, a huge thank you to our partners. So we work really closely with our partners day to day to help solve our customers' problems, and we're really grateful to those partners for joining us in sponsoring the event and in producing content for us. So thank you very much to the UK ISUG, to SailPoint, to Mazars, to SAP and to Beyond Trust for your kind sponsorship of the event and participation over the next couple of days. So I wanted to talk to you over the next 15 minutes or so about our mission to make the world a safer place to do business. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I changed our strategy at Turnkey to be a little bit less focused on SAP applications, which is the heritage of the company. We formed in 2004, and so we've been going for about almost 20 years now. But for the first 10, 15 years of the organization, it was very much focused exclusively on solving problems for customers in their SAP landscapes. And we grew a great client base through doing that. And we've built up, I think, a good reputation as the experts in that area. But what we found is that the problems that manifested themselves in the SAP environment were by far and away not, the only problems our clients were facing. And in order to help those clients solve a number of other problems, we broadened our service offerings quite significantly. And we've been on a mission to develop those service offerings and to mature them with the same focus on quality and a commitment to getting things right for our organizations and for our customers. So we've now defined 3 practice areas within Turnkey. So we have integrated risk management, identity and access management, and application and cyber security. So the integrated risk management practice is all about presenting enterprise level risk at the board level, but also integrating the risk management activities that the organization takes to present a truly end-to-end view of how risk is being managed in the organization. A couple of years ago, Gartner reframed their GRC terminology to be integrated risk management, and that's kind of the terminology that we've followed. But actually, Gartner's definition of integrated risk management is more about bringing together various risk silos across the organization into one holistic view of risk across the company. For Turnkey, that is obviously important, but we also think of integrated risk management in a vertical way too. So for us, it's important to understand how risk is being managed in the organization and to surface as much detail and fact as possible into the risk management process, as well as the self-assessment or risk self-assessment information that typically informs a lot of risk management applications. So what we've observed in working with our clients is that a lot of the time the information that's presented at board level around risk is very much focused on what risk managers or people who've been asked to manage risk are telling the organization about how they're managing that risk. So it's very much an opinion-based set of information that you're getting. There's a number of problems with that, not least the fact that a lot of the time people will want to tell you what you want to hear. So you can often find that you're understating your true residual risk because risk self-assessments are inherently flawed in that way. So what we try to do from a vertical perspective is we try to go down at the control level and work with our clients to manage controls more effectively, to define their risk and control frameworks, and to also capture information within their systems around how they're managing controls and operating those controls, and the effectiveness of that of those controls, and also the remediation status. So where you have found deficiencies, are you managing those deficiencies effectively? And what we do then is we surface that information around the control effectiveness, around the remediation status of controls, etc., and put it right alongside the self-assessment information. And that gives you a much more balanced picture of how effective your risk management activities are. So that's our integrated risk management practice. Our identity and access management practice is focused on ensuring that the right people get the right access at the right points in time. So this is all about the sort of join a mover leaver process in an organization, and making sure that that people have the right access provision to them. But it's all around the access governance process, is another way it's often described. And we've been working really closely with a number of key identity and access management vendors to help our clients to implement those solutions effectively, and to gain some of the efficiencies that you can get from effective deployments of identity and access management products. What we found actually in that area as well is that similar to the historical challenges we tackled for our clients in the SAP space, there are a number of products in this area that are poorly deployed by a lot of partner organizers, systems integrators, and organizations themselves. And so it's an area where we can excel by focusing on quality in the way that we have historically. So we're finding that that's a real growth area of our business, and it's also really nice to be working with solutions that can deliver a return on the investment, because if you get these implementations right in the identity and access management space, you can really gain a number of efficiencies in the process, and reduction in the time it takes to get access to people, a reduction in the sort of user administration costs associated with that. And so it's nice to be able to present back to a customer the return that they're going to get on that investment. And then our application and cybersecurity practice, a lot of the focus here is around protecting applications from external threats. So historically, that's something we've been working very closely with SAP around doing. And we've helped our customers to manage the internal and external threats to their SAP applications for some time now. We've extended that practice out to support other key business applications such as Salesforce, Workday, etc. in a similar way, managing the business risks, both internal and external to those applications. And we see similarities in challenges that that our customers are facing in those applications around segregation of duties, around how to manage external access to those systems and access for third parties, etc. And then we also have a growing cybersecurity capability in that practice as well. So we're working with partner organizations to develop a cybersecurity and awareness capability, and we have a managed service on that we can support organizations with. And we're also able to work in the cybersecurity strategy space, helping our customers to identify the areas they should be focusing on. And we work on vulnerability analysis and penetration testing type activities as well within that practice. So the cybersecurity term is a very broad church, and we're gradually broadening out the service offerings we have in that space. But in particular, we've got that focus on application security because we really believe that your key assets from an application perspective aren't protected purely by the external perimeter that you may put in place to protect your applications, because there are so many legitimate doors in and out of that perimeter. So we really need to think about protecting those applications from within. And there are also some areas that we're seeing in that growing in that practice around the vulnerabilities in the hyperscalers and the fact that those applications, those cloud applications need to be managed and protected and hardened. And a lot of our clients are not necessarily aware of the hardening that needs to take place. They often think that when you put something in the cloud, that immediately sort of externalizes the responsibility for cybersecurity. But in fact, it doesn't at all. There are lots of flexibility around these applications, and they therefore need to be configured in a secure way. And that's the kind of key, the key sort of focus for us, is ensuring that those applications are secure. So I think we've defined these three practice areas very deliberately to tackle for a customer's for a customer the CISO's agenda end to end, but also to ensure that we're tackling the CFO's agenda from a security and controls perspective. So I think that one of the keys here in terms of getting things right in your organization and making your business safer from cyber threats is to ensure that you're connecting those conversations up. And I think one of the keys to that is framing problems in a risk lens. So for us, a key go-to-market in terms of the way that we talk about our problems, the problems that our customers face, is around making sure that we're constantly ensuring our customers understand the risks that that cybersecurity links back to. So there's lots of ways of linking those challenges back to business risk, and it's important that we do that in order to get the attention of the board. So I think a recent survey I came across highlighted that the cyber was a principal risk to the business for 80% of the FTSE 100, and that survey came out before the recent geopolitical events. So it's pretty clear that from a cybersecurity topic perspective, we have the attention of the board. But in order to keep the attention of the board, we need to continue to talk at the right level and to talk business risk to that conversation. And I think another aspect of that is in framing or ensuring that we're able to demonstrate the effect of our cybersecurity investments. So I was talking to a CISO recently about the importance of this, and I think it's one of the key things that puts the C into the CISO's role and keeps it there, is if they can actually understand the financial side of the business, and there isn't a endless well of money to spend on cybersecurity. So it's important that when we do spend money on cybersecurity activities, we are able to demonstrate the return on that investment. And we've been doing a lot of work within Turnkey to help our customers understand how to measure KPIs or KRIs around some of the impact that they're having from their cybersecurity investments. And I think that really is one of the keys to maintaining that conversation and keeping the ear of the board around these topics. And I think that's critical at the moment. So I came across something recently that for me reinforced the strategy we've defined around making the world a safer place to do business. And I wanted to sort of share that with you. It was an article that one of the CISOs that I'm connected with on LinkedIn had highlighted. And it was basically proposing that we reframe the conversation in the IT security space around safety, which obviously resonated for me because we'd already sort of redefined our sort of vision at Turnkey around safety. And the way that it described it was the definition of security is a state of being free from danger or threat. But the definition of safety is a condition or state of being protected from danger or threat. And I think there's a couple of points in there that are worth unpacking. So I think the key word that is there in safety but not in security is that concept of protection. And I think that is what we as IT security professionals are trying to do for our organizations. We're trying to protect them from these threats. We know that we're never going to reduce that threat to zero. We're never going to eliminate that threat entirely. So we're never going to be free from danger or threat. What we're trying to do is protect the organization from those dangers and threats and reduce that risk to an acceptable level. And I think that's kind of, it's quite a useful concept to think about reframing the conversation around safety. I think the other aspect of that came out from the article that I read was that safety is something that most organizations won't compromise on. Safety is something that we have a zero tolerance to safety issues, or we certainly wouldn't look in a lot of cases to trade off money with safety, or let's just say the integrity of most organizations would not allow them to trade safety from for budget. So I think it's also an important or useful concept to think of what we do with a safety lens, because it also then allows us to protect the budgets that we have secured within our organization to get to solve these problems, because this is not an area that often has that ROI demonstrable. So I talked a little bit about some of the areas we can demonstrate ROI, automation of controls, for example, in the IRM space, as well as some of the stuff I talked about in IAM. But a lot of the time we're managing risk down to an acceptable level, and we're reducing risk, and we're avoiding costs that aren't necessarily be tangible until they've actually, the risk is materialized, which is not something you want to happen. So it's quite hard to put a pound or dollar value on that event until it's happened. So I think it's useful to think about safety in the sense that it allows us to demonstrate an ongoing commitment to safety and to protecting the organization from those threats. So the one last point I'd like to make, I suppose, in this sort of context is, this is something we won't do to your organization. It's not something we can't make your organization a safer place to do business without your support. So this is something we can do together. This is something that we need to work on collectively with our clients to make our our clients and their environments a safer place to do business. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a taster for some of the sessions coming up, and to give you an overview of the agenda. So coming up soon after this session, we've got some colleagues of mine from the Identity and Access Management practice focusing on managing the global threat. We've then got a partner session from Mazars talking about social engineering. We've done some really interesting projects with the team from Mazars, and I think that this is going to be an interesting session talking about some of those social engineering risks and the human firewall, as it were. Ralph's going to be speaking later about Beyond Zero Trust. So Ralph is actually an analyst now, but he was prior to that a client for us. So I'm really pleased that he's agreed to come back and speak to us at the event today. We've then got Stefan, who's at Burberry, and he's going to be talking a little bit about the risk management process and how we can think about finding opportunity and risk. I think this is the concept of thinking of risk as an opportunity is important. I think when I started my career at PwC about 25 years ago now, we were talking about risk as an opportunity then, and I think it's a sort of a way of thinking about what we do that is timeless, really, no matter what products we're working with, or the concept of thinking of risk as an opportunity is important. Yeah, I mean, I love one of the phrases that one of my clients gave me once, which is, why do we put brakes on a Ferrari? It's to help us drive faster, which is not necessarily, it's a bit counterintuitive, but if you think it through. We then got a session from SAP talking about a new product, financial compliance management. So this is a really interesting evolution in the controls automation space. We've actually been working with SAP developing this solution together with them. So I'm really excited for you to hear a little bit more about that and the stage to which that product has got to. And then we've also got Julianne from Birmingham City University, who's kindly joined us to talk a little bit about the fundamentals of effective risk and controls. Then tomorrow, we've got another packed lineup of sessions. So I'm kicking off myself, actually, together with Craig Dale from the UK ISUG and Brian Froome from Tata Steel. And we're going to be talking about the power of community and how we can harness some of the conversations with our colleagues and peers to better empower our organisation. We then got a session from the IAM team talking about some of the products and projects they've been working with. And then we have a session after that. SailPoint and Beyond Trust are going to be doing a session. In fact, they've got two sessions because they have an Ask the Expert session after that, talking about identity-centric zero trust. We then got Matt joining us from St James's Place. We've been working on a PAM project there for St James's Place, and Matt's kindly joined us to talk a little bit about that and some of the key success criteria in that project. And then we have Lucas from Carlsberg, who's very kindly joined us to talk a little bit about how we've been working with them to mature some of the the security in their across their SAP landscape, and in particular how we can bring those SAP and non-SAP teams together. So I think coming from an SAP background, I can say categorically that in the past, the SAP teams didn't engage with the IT security teams effectively. And I think one of the things that Turnkey's been pushing for 10 years now, at least, is this idea that we're all there to protect our IT systems, and we need to work in tandem with the IT security teams across our organisation. So Lucas is going to talk a little bit about that. And then we have Punit from BP, who's kindly joined us to talk a little bit about some of the security, risk management and compliance activities that they've been doing at BP. And then finally, Dominic from Range is going to be talking about a project we've been doing together with him for a biotech company, where we've been helping them to manage their compliance journey for S/4HANA. So I think that's a packed lineup for you, and I very much hope that you're going to enjoy the sessions over the next couple of days. I'd be really grateful for your feedback. So please drop me an email directly, or drop us an email at info@turnkeyconsulting.com. Whoever you're working with within Turnkey, we'd be grateful for your feedback. But anything we can do to improve this conference over the next time, we'd be grateful for the feedback. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the session.